Hello, my name is Michael Johnson. I'm the editor of the Southern Cross, the official newspaper of the Diocese of Savannah. Today we're here with Father Tim Mckeown, who is the pastor of St. Francis Xavier Church in Brunswick and who has been recently appointed as a Missionary of Mercy by Pope Francis for the Holy Year of Mercy. Good morning, Father Tim. How are you?
Good morning. Well, thank you.
So, Father Tim, what will your duties be during this year? How do you see yourself carrying out this commission?
I think the Holy Father's vision is that we have a visible sign of mercy all throughout the world. So he commissioned 1,000 priests throughout the world. So I think he wants a very tangible sign of mercy and forgiveness. So I think our main commission is to preach forgiveness and to hear confessions, and also to promote the spiritual and corporal works of mercy. So what I foresee would be mostly preaching about the Lord's mercy and hearing confessions. And
I understand that he had an exhortation for you. Just at Ash Wednesday, you were in Rome for a Mass when the Pope spoke to just under 1,000 of the priests. What did he say there? And what was the takeaway for you from that Mass and that experience?
We actually had two meetings with the Holy Father. The first was the Tuesday before Ash Wednesday, and he gathered us into one of the apostolic halls in the Vatican, and he gave us exhortation just to the Missionaries of Mercy. And in that, really to sum up, he really asked us to be a maternal presence of the Church. He said we've all had experience of a priest, perhaps, or maybe we've heard about it from a friend who was too severe with a penitent, and maybe the penitent decided not to go back to confession or was wounded by that confession. And he said, in the year of mercy, we need to have a maternal approach, that we need to welcome the sinner, embrace the sinner, and that the penitent should see the Church as a mother. So this was one theme that he really brought up with us, to really bring a maternal face of the Church to the sinner, to the penitent.
Mass Ash Wednesday in Rome, in the homily. Do you have any specific takeaways from that?
Sure. One interesting aspect of the homily I thought of is the Holy Father warned us as a church of 3 obstacles to mercy this year. The first would be that of serious sin, when we choose to remain in sin in our life. And he says, we become in danger of living in a prison of evil. And to really look at our lives and see, is there any type of serious sin that I have not renounced? And that could certainly be an obstacle of grace in my life. Another that he spent a lot of time on was the idea of shame, that sometimes we might be too ashamed to seek God's mercy. We're ashamed of our sins. We don't want to come forward and bring those. And he encouraged the Missionaries of Mercy to lay a blanket of mercy upon sinners and cover them and make sure that we restored their dignity and to not let shame be an obstacle. He used the example from the Old Testament of Noah becoming a drunk and falling asleep naked and being in shame. And his sons walked into the room backwards to preserve his dignity and laid a blanket upon him. And the Holy Father said, so too the Missionaries of Mercy should lay a blanket of mercy upon the penitent. So that would be the second one. The third one would be bitterness, to watch out for ways that cynicism or bitterness maybe have entered our lives. And some people seem to be only happy when they're bitter. And he said to look in our hearts and see, is there any bitterness? And maybe ask ourselves, is there anyone I have not forgiven? Are there any grudges that I hold in my life? And as we see in Matthew 18, the servant who's forgiven so much by his master and then throttles a fellow servant for owing a small amount. We're in danger of doing that if we hold on to grudges, if we hold on to bitterness, to cynicism. We've been forgiven much, so we should forgive generously.